term. Do you truly feel that nonpartisan is accurate when they're appointed by partisan governors and then confirmed by a partisan Senate?
Wisconsin's the only state in the nation that has nonpartisan election agency.
Nonpartisan is a term you're using. What I'm saying is, can you really consider it nonpartisan?
Nonpartisan in the fact that they have been elected as a judge, which is a nonpartisan position, have served as a judge. They can't contribute to political candidates, to partisan candidates, and cannot run as a partisan candidate. Same goes for our staff.
Yeah, but they are confirmed and appointed by partisan candidates.
Well, who would you like them to be confirmed by?
Maybe a panel of the people.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, again, that's in the statutes. We didn't make that rule up.
Yeah. But if our remedy is the full box, and we can't guarantee that our elections are safe, then what recourse do we have?
If you are the ones that are supposed,
the elections aren't safe. It's not my opinion.
You are the ones who are responsible for administering the elections, though, and so ultimately it comes down to you.
It comes to no. You know what? There are 1,850 municipalities in the state.
There are 72 counties.
Right.
And one in which this was a real problem.
Tens of thousands of individual election inspectors. Right. Everybody who participates in the process has a role in making sure that it's a fair and open process, including observers. You can go to the polls any election day and watch people vote and make challenges. If you think that people are not voting, you should be voting.
That's not my problem. I think that's a rare problem.
We're not concerned about voters. We're concerned about the people who...
You said that it was up to us or me or somebody here to make sure that the process, whatever your term was, is fair as open.
You said that...
And I said, yes, that's part of it, but there are also thousands of other people who are part of the process before any results even get to the Government Accountability Board.
Why do we even need to move the vote? Why wouldn't we just count them all by hand at the municipalities?
The statutes that say municipalities that are over 7,500 people need to count their votes by machine. If you'd like to change that rule, you have to talk to the legislature. And there are also statutes that say if that was the way ballots were counted on election night, that's how they're supposed to be counted during the recount.
Well, I realize that. Why wouldn't you make people count them on a machine when you can flip the votes in a machine?
You'll have to talk to the legislature about the rules.
Well, I can't even get maybe who I want to be in the legislature to represent me because I can't do anything to secure my vote.
Okay, what would you like me to do about that? That's up to you and the voters.
No, but
okay, right now we have Alec writing a bunch of laws. So how do we not know that it was another, I don't know, group like that created these crazy laws?
Here's what I'd like from you. I'd like an actual answer as to why those bags were duct taped, why the bags were wide open. An answer, clear and concise answer. That's all I'd want, because that's your job. That's the Government Accountability Board's job, is to give us answers when fraud could have easily happened. Fact. Fraud could have very easily happened with those bags. That's fact. That's not opinion. That's fact. Fraud is just as likely as no fraud.
It's fact that it could have. Fraud is fact that it could have not happened.
Yeah, it's fact that fraud is just as likely as no fraud with those bags, though.
That's your opinion.
And you got, no, that's fact.
Are they open?
No, that's fact, because
they're
wide
open,
so it's just as easy to fraud as it is not to fraud them. So that's fact, 50-50 shot. And you're not giving any answers. The Government Accountability Board isn't giving any answers whatsoever as to why those bags are open, why the bags are duct taped, why there's no chain of custody, why there's all these irregularities. I mean, that's your job. Who are we supposed to get the answers from? Kathy Nicholas?
Following statutes and laws that are work best for the devil's advocate.
All I want you to do is do your job and give the people an answer. Otherwise, they can't trust their elections at all. That's the whole reason you reformed this, so people can trust elections.
You've done nothing besides evade answers. I mean, have you told us anything valuable?
Well, I don't know. There's been a bunch of people asserting that we should follow some rules that would contradict what the statutes are. Would you like us to contradict the statutes and just ignore what the legislature has passed?
You said your role is to administer the elections.
Been doing that since they got in.
What does that have to do with the Government Accountability Board?
You said the GAB's role is to administer the elections, and this election was not well administered. So that's, you know, what you can, as the accountability board, how can you make sure that the government is accountable?
As I explained before, we have a process under the statutes where people can file complaints with our agency. Okay,
So
written verified complaints.
Right.
Okay, and then that's the statutes say we give the election official a chance to respond, and then our board can make findings. If you would like to file a written verified complaint, there's a complaint form on our website.
How do
Okay.
we get answers, though? I mean, how do we as the citizens get answers as to why those bags are wide open? Why some of them are duct taped?
Well, who do you think put the seals on?
I think it was Kathy Nichols, because some of the seals didn't even match up to the tag
And
numbers.
Kathy
Some
Nichols,
of the seals didn't even match up to the tag numbers.
she doesn't work here though. Kathy Nichols?
Yeah,
No,
but
but
you
you're
can't go
supposed
to
to
her.
supervise
You're in
her.
charge.
No,
can't
no,
go to
we
her.
don't supervise.
So they have
Okay.
no accountability, is what I'm hearing you say, is that right?
He just told you, fill out a complaint form, and what we'll do is we'll find out how many of these were open, we'll find out which community it was. The clerk in charge of that community is responsible for sealing that bag. We'll fill out a form complaining to the GAB that this bag was left open in violation of whichever section it is, and he just said they will investigate. And they will be asking the clerk why it was left open. Is that what I heard you say?
That's what the process is. As you may have read, there's already been a complaint filed by the Kloppenburg campaign against Kathy Nichols.
But we're
That
not
was right
just
up- that was
concerned
right
about
up-
walk
And that
shop.
was right up front. That was the one that was done right up front, wasn't it?
Mhm.
But the investigation wasn't granted. The investigation Joanne Kloppenburg had requested wasn't granted.
The board took that up and considered it and found...
Any complaints, those kinds of complaints that are filed, the statutes say that if we release any information, our staff can be charged with a felony.
Okay.
Any
Okay.
information besides acknowledging that it was received. There's been no announcement of what happened with that
Okay,
complaint.
so we don't know yet. So
The independent investigation.
somewhere along the line, once you get a complaint like that, you either investigate or at least you inform the individual that you're not going to be investigating them. So, so it's in process yet, is what you just said, basically. You can't say anything about it.
All I can do is acknowledge that we received it.
You
because
can't
that
even
was-
say whether it's in
Well,
process
that's
anymore or
The
not.
process,
that
the
was
process
made-
is they have it, and they haven't said
Yeah.
yes or no yet. That's what I meant by in process. And he just...
Well, they may have already filed it in the circular file and we'll never know.
No, they've got, you're gonna respond to the person who put in a complaint, don't you? Is there- Okay. So if you put in a complaint, you'll get a response back.
When would that be? How long will it take?
Let me transfer over to Rich. Can you hold on a moment?
Do we need to file a complaint for each municipality separately?
Yes.
It depends what your complaint is about. I don't know what your complaint is about.
And then are these normally handled in the closed session that is associated with each of the regular board
It
meetings?
depends what type of complaint it is.
Okay,
Some of them aren't even handled by the board. Some of them are handled at
Just
at
by
the staff
staff.
level.
okay.
Well,
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Mike is?
Yes.
Jim Miller.
Jim?
Thank you.
All right.